You support Trump. Who's your
Yes
green
and
hat?
no with the whole Israel-Iran thing, kind of less and less.
If you could go back in time, would you still vote for him?
The one thing that made me vote for him is Kamala saying she wants to do buybacks. Not a big fan of that. Surprising.
I'm
And
asking like if you could go
would
back
I
in
go
time, would
back? I
you
don't know.
still vote for him?
That's a tough question. I mean, right now, I don't know if another president would. I feel like every president would follow whatever Israel wants, and they would still bomb Iran. So at least he didn't. I think I'm right in saying he didn't kill any civilians or anything. He just bombed the nuclear sites, which still isn't good. It's probably going to end badly, but
Doesn't
I don't
that put
know.
us at war with
It
Iran?
does, but I feel like every president would. We're all puppets of Israel. Do you think we are or not?
I'm sorry. So like you're saying that the war with Iran would have happened either way.
Yes.
Okay, I don't necessarily think that there's good enough evidence to substantiate that we would have
Well, I'll
had
tell you.
war with
You don't
Iran
think
either
so?
way.
You don't think so? You don't know
Yeah,
about the seven country plan?
especially because we had a nuclear peace agreement, right? Already established
If
that
you look
specifically limited them
historically,
from getting access to nuclear weapons that Donald Trump pulled us out of.
yeah, but if you look at historically, we said the same thing with Iraq, and this is an exact playbook.
Wait, no,
So
that's actually what was the same thing was said
yeah,
was that there are weapons of mass destruction and we have to
yep,
go to war with them because it is the case that there are weapons of mass destruction there. And now you're using the
yes,
same set of justification right now to go to war with Iran.
yes, that's what I'm saying. So if you
Oh,
look
yes.
historically, if America, yeah, so
Yeah.
If America did that with Iraq,
I don't think
that's what I'm
that's
saying.
justified. You think that's justified? Wasn't Donald Trump against that?
Wait. Are we speaking
Donald
past each
Trump was
other?
against the war with Iraq.
Hold on, I think we're speaking past each other. What I'm saying is we did this with Iraq, so I think no matter who the president was, this was our plan to do it to Iran as well. We had the seven country plan in the Middle East. You know this: Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. I don't forget the other ones, but you know about the seven country plan to take over the Middle East.
I could just clarify. Go for it. I'm not familiar.
So I had to look up the exact seven countries, but we had a plan to take over the Middle East, and you know how we destabilized Iraq when we lied about WMDs. What I'm saying is we did this in the past. We're puppets of Israel. No matter who the president is, we would have done this to Iran. I think at least Trump isn't bombing the citizens. At least he's not.
I don't think you
I
can
still don't
I
like
don't
how he
think you
did it.
can write it off as like this specifically is just because he's a puppet of Israel, right? I don't think that you can write it off as it's just that. I think you can write it off as Donald Trump's unhinged. He's insane. He's a lunatic. He's putting us at risk of war, which is something that he doesn't have to do when he can engage in negotiation because he wants to
I
seem
know.
strong himself. So it's not
Well, here's
it's so when you boil it down to just that he's a puppet of Israel, it takes away from the other facts that led to him doing this in the first place, right? Other than the fact that he's a puppet for Israel.
Well, yeah. Well, here's how we were in negotiations, and I think it was the head negotiator of Iran said that we could have peace with the U.S., but then Israel bombed and killed him.
When? When did that happen?
The most recent bombing that Israel did to that started this whole
To
thing
no towards
like a
that
week and a half
person.
ago.
No, towards that person.
What do you, no he they got Mossad got the high ranking officials of Iran in a building and bombed them. You
Yeah.
didn't hear about this?
Yeah,
This was started.
I'm asking did that happen before or after the US's involvement?
I mean, U.S. has been involved with Israel for like 25 years. It happened after the
We're
involvement, but
talking
we
about
weren't with the
involvement
U.S.
particularly
with
within
Iran.
Iran.
Yes, but the U.S. wasn't attacking Iran until right now. So this happened before. It's Israel's fault. They put us in a
No,
bad
no,
spot.
this happened under Donald Trump's presidency. If this same thing happened under the Biden-Harris administration, right, you would have blamed that on the Biden-Harris administration. You would have said that wouldn't happen if
Absolutely,
Trump was in office.
I am blaming
It's
Trump.
actually exactly what Donald Trump said. He said that Russia Ukraine would have never happened under his administration. What?
I am blaming Trump for bombing Iran, but I'm saying Israel is the one putting us in this tough spot. If anybody else was president and
Wait,
Tel Aviv got
I
bombed,
disagree with
just like how it did now.
our allyship with Israel. That's one of the big critiques that I have of the Democratic Party is the pro-Israel position, right?
Yeah,
I don't
so
think
we
we should be
agree.
supporting Israel's offensive war with Iran, right? I don't think that we should be doing that at all. I have a question.
We agree.
Okay, so you disagree with it. Okay. Well, then here would be my
Yeah,
point. Um,
not a fan of Israel.
okay. Well, then does that get you to a point where you wouldn't vote for him?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does. It really does. But
Okay.
the big thing that's tough is like
Wait, Danny, if you wouldn't.
Kamala wanted buybacks, AR-15 buybacks. That's a big thing. If liberals and the left is if we're afraid of a tyrannical government, wouldn't the biggest thing you want is guns and the accessibility to guns?
Do you think you're going to be able to fight the military or something? I'm sorry. Like
No,
you don't.
that's not the
I don't.
argument.
I
I'll
don't
tell
think.
you.
I don't. I
I've
don't
heard this
think. I don't.
before.
Wait. Oh wait. I'm not advocating to get rid
I'll
of.
tell you. I'll
Can
tell
I
you why
please
you need
explain?
it.
Can I? You asked me a question. I would
Yes,
love to
but
respond.
then can I explain? Then can I explain?
Explain what?
You asked the question. Do you think you can fight the military? I'll tell you why
Go
you need
ahead.
guns. You need guns because the military is not, a tyrannical government is not just going to nuke its society. What they're going to do is they're going to take you from your homes, just like they did in Nazi Germany. And if you have guns, that is the deterrent. Yeah, you're not going to fight a tank. You're not going to fight a nuke. But all you need is the people to be armed, and that's the deterrent.
Okay. So again, I'm not saying get rid of all guns, right? I wasn't even saying that, but supporting some gun control legislation is effective because it reduces how many people are unalived.
No,
Are you saying you disagree
there
with all gun control legislation?
not all gun control, but
Okay, so
AR-15
you so
backpacks,
okay. So
banning AR-15.
okay, so to clarify, right? You think that that is a good enough reason to support Donald Trump is to say that she is okay with governmental buybacks, not even mandatory, right, for AR-15s.
No, she wanted mandatory buybacks.
That was only 2020. That was not 2024.
I mean, if someone says that, that kind of scares me. Even if 4 years go by.
Okay,
But
Donald Trump called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. In that specific context, are you arguing that Donald Trump, right, is undermining the Second Amendment then? Right? So are you
say
still
that
saying
again.
that
He called for what? All rules.
he called for a termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution? So if you call this a threat to the Second Amendment, that's an even greater threat to the Second Amendment.
When that's a bad. Yeah, that's a bad. When did he say that?
After he thinks that he won the 2020 election, he said that
He
the
called for
founders of this
all.
country wouldn't want false and fraudulent elections.
So
Yes, he's unhinged.
I wonder. I got to look that up. I don't. I feel like you're kind of twisting what he said. I don't
I'm
know what he
not.
said, but
I'm literally not at all. Would
he
you?
said he called for all rules and regulations to be
Yes.
whatever abolished.
Yes. It's something he posted on Twitter.
Wow, that's not good. I think.
Wow. Yeah.
I think. Yeah, that's bad. That's not good.
Do you want me
I
to
gotta
read
look
it
that
to you?
up.
I'll read it to you if you'd like.
Yeah,
So,
read the
so
whole
with the
tweet.
revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception and working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and the Democrat Party do throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner? Or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Our great founders did not want and would not condone
Yeah.
false and fraudulent elections.
You got to be fair. That's a lot different than what you said. He wants to terminate all the rules and like laws. That's a little
Really?
bit
Wait,
different.
wait, wait. A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows
Yeah.
for the termination of
Yeah.
all rules,
Yeah.
regulations, and articles, even those found in the
Well,
Constitution.
did you hear the first part? He's like a massive fraud calls for this, but that's different than just saying I Donald Trump want to terminate all the
Wait.
rules.
I told you that it was explicitly because he thought he won the 2020 election.
Yeah, he's saying if there. I mean, you can agree. I mean, that's kind of hyperbolic of
What?
Trump. But if
Wait,
you
wait,
are,
wait. How did I
if there is a
misrepresent what
massive fraud
happened?
like that,
How
you do
how
have
did
to
I
like.
misrepresent what happened?
Well, because I mean, I'm not saying you did it in bad faith, but you did say Trump called for he wants to terminate all rules and regulations of the law. I mean, he said
I said he
a
wants to
massive
terminate
fraud
all.
like this
I
calls
said he
for
wants to
that.
terminate the all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. That's what I said.
Yeah, and that makes it sound like he just wants to become like a king. But he's saying if
That's
a
exact,
fraud,
but verbatim what he
no,
said.
he's saying if a fraud of that magnitude occurred, then we have to terminate. It's hyperbolic, but it's not the same as just saying when I get president, I
Wait, no,
want to
no, no.
terminate all the rules.
No, he does think the fraud happened at that magnitude, so he thinks it's justified to overturn the results
Yes.
of the overturn the Constitution. There was no good evidence of election fraud. He's just saying that to say that. He's doing that so
Yes.
that he can undermine your rights.
Yeah, and that's not good. But he's saying that if a
So,
fraud,
so
did
if we
that
know
occur,
historically
are
speaking,
we misunderstanding?
he lies about the state of affairs that are happening in order to be able to undermine your rights, then why wouldn't you expect for him to be doing it right now?
Say the first part. Sorry, you said historically he what?
Literally, he called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. If you are having an issue with Kamala Harris in 2020 advocating for a mandated buyback specifically just for AR-15s, well, then you must have an issue with Donald Trump, right? Literally a year after that, calling for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution, because that applies to the entirety of the Second Amendment.
Yes, that is very bad. If he did that, I would.
What do you mean if
not
he did
like
that? I just read it off.
Yes, he said that, but if he did it, if that was his goal.
Oh, okay. So then if Kamala Harris did it, she didn't do it.
Yes, but yes, I know. I understand. But the difference is
You realize how ridiculous that sounds now.
But there's a small difference.
Because earlier you were complaining about Kamala Harris just saying it, not doing it. Kamala Harris just saying it.
Well, she said that she wanted to do it, and Trump is saying if there was a fraud of that magnitude, then
he actually believes there was a fraud of that magnitude and was legitimately calling for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution, because he does believe that. What are you talking about?
Then that's fair. I agree. That's not good.
Okay, well then, do you agree that that's?
I didn't know this was mainstream.
Yeah, yes, it's incredibly well known.
Mainstream. I never heard that, but that's not good at all.
He literally posted this.
Mainstream. He wants to take. He wants to do that.
He posted this.
Now that you're telling me,
he posted this. Do you want me to show you the tweet or something?
I believe you.
Okay. So then, would you agree that he's worse?
With that knowledge, yeah.
Okay, so then would you say that if you could go back in time, you wouldn't vote for him?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, with the Iran thing is really tough.
Iran. Okay.
Iran. Sorry.
No. I'm just clarifying, right? Just because, like, people in typical.
Yeah, you guys.
Right.
Yeah,
I've said that. Dean has, like. I'm just saying, because I do the same thing with everyone. I'm just like clarifying because that's the correct pronunciation. I've heard it is. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you coming up.
Interesting stuff, dude. Thanks.